Hello and welcome back to my new video. Today I want to talk about the difference between Germany and New Zealand, or things I noticed are different in New Zealand than in Germany. You might not really notice them straight away, but after a time, and I mean I live here now for 10 months, I noticed a few things. So let's go. Okay, first of all, I think that is something you notice straight away. Or in New Zealand, I already say we because I feel like I belong here. We drive on the other side of the road. Woo! So one thing I think Germans, or I think it's a European thing, should learn is to stress less at the supermarket checkout. Honestly, in New Zealand, if you haven't been to New Zealand, it's so different. Like, you are at the checkout in the supermarket and the people that work at the supermarket, they pack your bag and they ask you how you're doing, how was your day, and it's so less stress than in Germany or wherever in Europe, because I know that in Germany, when you're at the the checkout, you are stressed because people behind you are looking on their watch and checking the time, and you're looking for the right coins to pay, and you feel just so stressed because people behind you are oh, come on, hurry up and all that. And it's so different in New Zealand. So if you haven't been here and you come to New Zealand for, I don't know, for your travels, you will realize that it's so different in the supermarket. Another thing that's different is that every PowerPoint in the house or wherever has its own power, on and off. You can switch the PowerPoint on or off. Whereas in Germany, you usually have an extra thing to turn, one of these things. I will just put a photo here. So I think this is actually really good in New Zealand, that you can turn on and turn off every single PowerPoint. One thing I really have to get used to is that cafes aren't open that long, so they usually close at 3 p.m. Whereas in Germany, that's usually the time, or more 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. is the time when you go for coffee, when you catch up with someone for coffee. So yeah, here in New Zealand, cafes close mostly at 3:30. Another thing about supermarkets, if you're from New Zealand, you probably don't know how it's in Germany. So in Germany, when you go to a supermarket, you usually have to have €1 or €2 or 50 cents to put in the trolley to get the trolley, and then when you put the trolley back, you get the money back. So it's a little thing. Maybe I found a photo. And yeah, in New Zealand, you don't have that. You can just get your trolley and just put it back. And yeah. In New Zealand, you pay rent weekly, and in Germany, you pay rent monthly. And in New Zealand, you can get paid every week, or I think it's called fortnightly. Whereas in Germany, you get paid every month. I think that's quite good, just to calculate your money better when you get it weekly or every 2 weeks, because then it's not it's the end of the month and you run out of money. I mean, then maybe you run out of money every 2 weeks or every week, but yeah, you get paid weekly or every second week. One thing I think all girls will miss in New Zealand are Drogeriemärkte. That's the German word. Here in New Zealand, you can find beauty products in supermarkets or at the pharmacy. So there's no drugstore, I think that's the right word. So here in New Zealand, yeah, you find mascara, and I don't know, all your beauty products in supermarkets, pharmacies, or the warehouse, or Kmart. But yeah, so there are no drugstores, Drogeriemärkte, like DM or Rossmann. Another thing I think Germany should do as well is public water stations, or yeah, I mean, here in New Zealand, water is always for free. Like you go to a cafe and you get water for free, which is not very common in Germany. Some cafes do it, some don't, but I think that should be more common, or should be more often in Germany. And another thing I think is so good, that when you go to a bar or like a club, you get water for free. In Germany, you often pay like 3 or 4 euro for water in a club, whereas like a beer is the same. So I know from my experience that you rather buy another beer or like alcohol than water. And I just think it's so good that water is for free here in New Zealand, because then you just go and get the water. Another thing that would never really happen in Germany, or I think it's actually nowhere in Germany, I don't know, but in New Zealand it can happen that the next petrol station is like 100 kilometers away. So there will be a sign to let you know when you're on a highway that the next petrol station is the last one for, I don't know, 100 kilometers or 100 k's. What's the right word? Oh god, I feel like I can't really speak today, so sorry if this video is a little bit out of control. Another thing that's different in New Zealand compared to Germany is that when you have your keys and you open a door, you usually, let's say here's the lock, to open the door you turn your key right, which makes sense because then the lock goes right. But in New Zealand, like, the lock is in here. I don't know how to explain it. I will show you a video, but you go to the left and the door opens, which doesn't make sense to me, but whatever, it works. So that's it for today. I hope you liked it, and maybe you've been to New Zealand before and you already knew these things, but maybe you're planning your next trip here and now you're prepared for what's gonna happen at the supermarket, or not happen, because it's not the same as in Germany. So well, whatever. Stay safe, stay kind, stay healthy. See ya!